Hello and welcome back to Horse Racing Today. Just me today, unfortunately. Terrific Terry Hay, Hollywood Hay, won't be able to join us today. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. If not, Thursday. We'll certainly keep you up to speed with that. Godspeed to Terry and the situation in his home. Hopefully all goes well. Today, as always, we're going to do Parx. But before we do Parx on this terrific Terry Tuesday, still in his honor, today at Will Rogers, it is the free track of the day at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link down in the description below. You will find in Will Rogers the first race, Sweet and Salty, the 5-horse. It is going to be a best bet. Again, you can get all the Will Rogers picks today for free. Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link down in the description below. Because I'm here by myself today, folks, audience participation is mandatory. So hit me up in the comment section. Give me your thoughts, comments, questions, anything that comes to mind, I would greatly appreciate. So let's get started at Parx today, starting off in, of course, race number 1. I'm not going to read all of them like Terry does, but I'll just touch on some of the important things. This is 6 furlongs. It's a claiming race, 7,500. Non-winners of 3 lifetime. The purse is 21 grand. Fillies and mares, 4 years old and up, which have not won 3 races. The profile of said winner at 6 furlongs is some tactical speed, does pretty good. 25% or 1 out of 4 does manage to win the race going wire to wire. Pretty big rail bonus in here for Wicked Lady, so maybe you can take advantage of that. 2 and 3, those post positions play fair. Post 4 through 7, they get penalized, so perhaps a little bit of a downgrade there. 8 and out, they come back close to fair, but still a little bit under par. I do 10,000 simulations, folks, looking for horses that have early speed, perhaps, that can be very difficult to contend with. Also want to see if our odds, our projected odds, are lower than post-time odds, i.e. looking for value. Based upon our projected early pace, how likely the horse is to get a race that mirrors its best performances, has C-zone or comfort zone. Hi, Kaisi, your audience participation is welcome. Thank you. They're all of his Parx picks today. Make sure you screenshot that so you can keep along with his picks as well. And then finally, Par Plus. Again, based upon 10,000 simulations, how likely the horse is to run a speed figure above par for this level. In this case, 74. So yeah, average type horse race in there. Based upon our early speed projections, it sure looks like B Water is the one that everybody's going to have to catch at some point. Maybe a little bit of chase from Bohemian Babe and Aztec Bay. As far as that pace is concerned, a lot of these horses should find it very comfortable. Dune Jumper, Bullet on Tap, Wicked Lady, 96% chance that this race mirrors some of their better performances. You got a host of them in here with a Par Plus score above 0. Looks like the 2, the 3, and the 5 with the best chances to be able to hit that par number, or again, that number being 74 or higher. And then finally, looking for some value, the 2-horse, odds about 5-2 versus 5-1 morning line. We got 9-5 on Bullet on Tap as our simulated odds versus 3-1 morning line. So a little bit of value. A couple of horses there with strong Par Plus as well. Along with all of our simulations, we take a look at what's called pace handicapping to see how these horses like to run. You can see most of the horses like to be middle forward. E are your pilot types, EP compiler, co-pilot. P's want a co-pilot. PC types, those horses can run pretty much anywhere on the track, but tend to be middle back. And then, of course, your closers in here. I would like to see a horse in this case be the speed of the speed, or maybe a horse that can sit right off the pace with a little bit of late speed. Looking at the early pace numbers, No More Diamonds, Be Water, the Furminator. If you don't got one of those for your dog, I would recommend it. They really do take off a lot more hair than any of the other brushes. And we don't get any promotional for that. It's just true with my lab, who sheds like crazy. But looking at this is a pretty competitive early speed race. Everybody in the mix here a little bit. Late speed belongs to Bullet on Tap. That might be where the races run. You have 4 of them. The 1, 2, 3, and 5 with the most late speed, if indeed that's where the race is won. Kind of concentrate on those horses. And looking at our top 4 total pace horses, up through the last 300 races or so where we've chronicled it, 75%. So 3 out of 4 winners come from that group right there. As far as my picks are concerned, I'm going to go ahead and start with the 3 horse as my top selection in the first race. Be Water. Its resume suggests in the second start after a layoff, this horse will be better than it was in the first and likes to run well at Parx in the money, 7 out of 9 starts. Next up is Bullet on Tap for me, the 5 horse. Reason it's getting the second call for me is the horse did hold its speed longer. What I mean by that, if you look here at race number 5, you see here the race before that kind of closed and then showed some speed and held it all the way to the end. So held its speed longer for Bullet on Tap. And the fractions were a little bit quicker in this 6 furlong race than it were in the 6 furlong race that it ran prior to that. Now Act Surprise, the 2 horse. This one is another that I'm expecting to show improvement in the second start after a layoff. And then finally, number 8, No More Diamonds. If the 3 doesn't break well, find itself on the lead, then the 8 horse is probably going to do there and take over the pace setting duties. Again, we're no longer doing our bets, just one a day, basically our bet of the day. Terry and I, in an effort to better understand our data and better help put together bets, we're just going to do a $2 win bet on our top pick, $1 exacta box on our top 2 picks, 50-cent trifecta box with our top 3 picks, and a 10-cent superfecta box with our top 4 picks to see what kind of ROI we can generate and which races we should really concentrate on betting on and which ones are passes. And knowing which races to pass, I feel, is just as important as knowing which races to bet. If you haven't done so yet, kindly hit the subscribe button while you're here on YouTube. Follow us on all of our social sites. You see them streaming down below. Let's take a look. We got about 1 minute coming up to race number 1 here. Ooh, the track is really sloppy. The rain is coming down hard. I guess they're getting what we got here last night in Chicago. Puddles galore everywhere in the Windy City this morning. The 3 horse is the favorite right now at 2-1. The 5 horse coming in at second choice at 2-1 as well. Next up on the board looks like the 8 horse at 7-2. Looks like they might be favoring a little bit of early speed. I will say, though, that in past days on wet tracks at Parx, there has been a little bit of a late speed bias. It seems to me more horses than usual come from off the pace on that sloppy track. Really kind of hard to see the horses. Looks like it's raining so hard it almost looks foggy on the screen. So it looks like the first 3 horses are in the gates. Number 4 working its way to the gate. So once they get racing, I'll let you know what I see happening on the screen. In the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, certainly audience participation on this day where I'm riding solo would be greatly, greatly appreciated for sure. I think that's, I'd probably like that. Looks a little bit better, right? So you can see all the data and not so much me. Let's see what's cooking here with this first race as we get ready to rock and roll. Looks like they're all set. They're all in. We're about to hear the wonderful tones of Jessica Paquette, the race caller there in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. The 5 horse now has taken over the favorite status by just a little bit at 9-5. The 2 horse at 3-1. Looking at value, the value horse right now looks like the 2 horse. And even the 5 horse at 9-5 is what we have as fair odds. So the 5 and the 2 right now offering the most value. I don't know. It looks like they're having problems with like maybe the 7 or the 6 horse, trying to get it situated for its run today. Once they get that squared away, should be ready to go. Looks like the assistant starters have kind of moved out of the way. And the 9 has loaded. The assistant starter has hopped up into the gate with it. Just a matter of pressing that button and getting the horses going on this sloppy Tuesday. And the button's pressed, the bell has rung, and the horses are off to the opener on this extremely sloppy track. A pretty good start. About 5 horses wide, all competing for the lead. Horse on the outside right now. Looks like maybe I'm going to say the 6 horse maybe has gotten to the lead, the Ferminator. Tough to tell with the sloppy weather in there. You can't really see. Actually, the 7 horse, the one that was acting up a little bit. Aztec Bay. The 3-horse looks like it's down on the rail in a good position to roll. To its outside is maybe the 6-horse. 3-horse continues to battle with the 6 as they go through the opening quarter in 22 and 3. 1-horse is making a pretty aggressive rail move up the line. The 5-horse, the race favorite at the moment, is about 4 wide going through the turn. So going to have a very difficult trip home. The 6-horse at 20-1 still continues to hold the lead. The jockey smacking that one, wants to get more out of it. Looks like the one on the outside, folks, in the sloppy day might be able to catch that long shot. Right now, it looks like the 6-horse in the opening race, the Furminator. Not only are they better for your dog, they're better in the opening race. It's going to go 6, 1, 3, 4, and 9. 6, 1, 3, 4, and 9. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of an early speed bias despite the sloppy track there, because the 6 got the lead, never gave it up, and really only 1 horse at the end of the race, the 9-horse Dune Jumper, showing more interest. Otherwise, they pretty much ran flat all the way around the track. Let's talk about race number 2. Hopefully we can get most of them done before this one gets started. This one is 5.5 furlongs on the sloppy track again, claiming 10 grand. Purse is 26 grand. Fillies and mares, 4 years old and up, which have not won a race since December the 5th. A bunch of other qualifications in there as well. For the distance and surface, what you're looking for at 5.5 furlongs is early speed. They've only run 11 races. 7 of the 11 went wire to wire. So we saw in the opener speed hold. The distance favors speed as well. So far, none have won from the rail. So La Lucia could struggle a little bit. 2 and 3 underperform. 4 and 7 play fair. 8 and out. So this is a absolutely clear outside to in bias in race number 2. Again, speed really matters. There is speed on the outside, and 8 out where the biggest bonus lies. That would be Vitamin. That one has a strong chance to get to the lead. Pretty solid C-zone relative to the rest of this field. So should get to the front, should be comfortable on front. You just saw the front horse go wire to wire. As far as our early rest of our early speed contenders, 7 year later should press the 8. Outside of that, the other 2 look really more like stalkers. Couple in here with par plus scores, the 2 and the 4, Luna T, and If I Had a Chance, but pretty low numbers there. But still a good chance to maybe perhaps go over 82 on the speed gun when it's all said and done. If you're looking for value, let's look at Luna T. About 3-1 versus 4-1 morning line, 6-5 on If I Had a Chance, as long versus that 7-2 morning line. Why is everybody else looking like where the odds setter set them? Our race shape, this one more middle back than forward. So again, speed could be hugely important. You see here, Vitamin, the 8-horse, should be the one that sets the tone about a half a length quicker than the rest of the field. Again, about 4 of them in here look like they'll definitely be out of the gates and going. If any does show late interest, it would be Luna T in here along with Sensimillion. And If I Had a Chance, our top total pace horse in here are the 4 and the 3. They're about, 6 points clear of the next closest. A 5 to 6 point advantage usually is enough to compete for the win. So maybe a 3-4 exact the box would be a good way to go in here. Let's see, some audience participation. I appreciate it. What happened to the 5? It was really hard to tell what happened in there, to be honest with you, because of the way the rain made it really difficult to see everything in there. You guys made me win good money yesterday. Thanks so much. You guys tell me where to buy the PPs, or I can buy from you guys since I'm in Mexico. So I use Brisnet, but the data that we create, I create on my own. So I'm reading books and kind of taking some of those ideas and tweaking them a little bit better to fit what actually happens on the track from where we're doing our handicapping. We will be bringing this data to the market in the not too distant future. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to look at as far as race number 2 is concerned. I'm going to start my picks with the 4-horse. That's my first selection. If I Had a Chance, coming from the movie Dumb and Dumber, right? You mean I have a chance? Funny movie. Want to hear something annoying? If you ever seen that movie, that scene just makes me cry every time. But in any case, If I Had a Chance, Top last race speed figure, 5 points clear of anybody else. All of its race internals better across the board. Really loves to run at Parx. 16 races, 6 wins, 3/3, 3 seconds in there. Anywhere else, 31 times, 5 wins, 5 seconds, 5/3. So clearly a preference for Parx. Via Temi, that's going to be your front runner in there, folks. Quicker fractions last time out, and the horse likes to go at the distance. 7 out of 11, wire to wire. Get to the lead, strong chance to be your winner. Luna T going to close a little bit in there. Very consistent performer. Cutting back in distance could allow for the horse to speed up a little more at the start. And then finally, number 3, Matty Bo. Matty Bo has plenty of early juice when the gates open as well, and a highly consistent performer. One of those horses with a high floor, low ceiling types. You see a tight band in performance after performance after performance. Those horses don't win a whole lot, but if you don't run up to its ability, it will beat you. Again, Terry and I, for the purposes of our ROI, win rates and all of that, $2 to win on the top pick, dollar exacta box, top 2 picks, 50-cent trifecta box, top 3, and then a 10-cent superfecta box using the top 4. And we'll have a few dollars left over that we can bet any way we want in our $100 budget. Brisnet does not accept Mexican card. It sucks. I can't see the times they made there in the last races. Really, you can. That does suck. DRF is available too. I don't know if they accept Mexican cards or not. Maybe a PayPal account. Do they accept PayPal? That might be something you might consider doing. Maybe ACH if you do it directly from the bank account. Although I have to admit, in these times of hacking, I'm not a big fan of putting all of my banking information on any website, not even my own computer. Maybe just old and paranoid. Who knows? Race number 3 on this 10-race card on this solo flight. Amelia Earhart Rich today. 6.5 furlongs, optional claiming 16,000. The purse is 25 grand. 4 years old and up, which have started for $16,000 or less, are not won 2 races, or for a claiming price of 16 grand, and that have not won 2 races either. So just not winning 2 races, I guess, is the key right there. Let's take a look at the pace, what it takes to win these races at 6.5 furlongs. Stalkers do the best. 29% of the time they go wire to wire. There is a little bit of a rail bonus for Zappy Fishbayen. 2 and 3 played fair. 4 through 7 a discount. 8 and out is a little bit on the fair side. Again, our race data tells us that if you're looking for the early lead, Waponess, a very handsome guy. Unfortunately, that one here is not here today with Terry. Waponess is on the sidelines. Really strong chance to get to the front. Really high C-zone score. So very likely to be your pace setter. Very comfortable up on the lead there. As far as our Par Plus is concerned, really anybody but Waponess. So maybe gets to the lead, and everybody else have to run a little bit under their ability for it to go wire to wire. Strongest number there is Jules in the Bay. Value-wise, got a couple of them here that look like can offer some value. The 6 horse, It's a Pity, Bobby's Candy. Those two have a good chance to perhaps offer value to bettors. And our top C-zone scores, the 1, the 2, and the 4, along with the 6. They should really find today's pace comfortable. Our race plotting, none really want to be the pilot. So you got a bunch of co-pilots that could take that role. In all likelihood, that's going to be that 2 horse, Waponess. About a length quicker than Bobby's Candy. Really nothing to its inside to challenge it early. So Waponess should jump to the lead, have that lead. And the question is, how hard does it run? Yesterday, I had a 1 horse, had a very similar profile. And I think it was a 6.5 furlong race, and went out in like 22 seconds flat. Way too fast, 5 lengths ahead of everybody else, and just faded at the end. And I can't for the life of me understand why jockeys ever do that. But in any case, if the jockey on Waponess decides to run at a comfortable pace, could get to the front and be very difficult to catch. If not, that rail horse, Zappy Fishman and Jules in the Bay. Jules in the Bay being closer to the 2 horse from the get-go. And our top total pace horses are Jules in the Bay, It's a Pity, 4 and 5 points, 6 points ahead of everybody else. Again, very strong candidate for an exacta box. I went ahead and started with Bobby's Candy as my top selection. Last time out, ran the highest total speed figure, 8 points clear of the next closest horse. I am a little concerned about some regression, though, because the horse was off for a little bit, coming back. Sometimes they're a little sore maybe in that second spot. But the track record says second after a layoff should be better than the first. The 2-horse, the Handsome Guy, Awapo-ness, all that early speed, as I mentioned, just can't run too fast, too early all by itself. The only time the horse has run at Parx, it did win on the front. Jewels in the Bay, the 6-horse, has a bunch of early giddy up and go when the gates open as well. At times, Doves has some top-notch late speed. Cutting back from 1 mile and 70 yards should help in the classic third start after a layoff. And then It's a Pity, the 4-horse, was a really tough call for me over the 3-horse, Caddy's uncle. But, and especially since I think the 3 has a little bit more class. But the 3 came back after a 5-month hiatus, ran a peak speed figure. And when you see that, I think 90% of the time, if I remember correctly from Andrew Byer's book on speed figures, those horses bounce. So I'm not going to play the 10% odds. I'm going to play the 90% odds and downgrade that one a little bit. Thanks for the program. I want to just catch if I can't find it. All right, no problem. Maybe, yeah, I think maybe PayPal would be the way. Other than that, I'm not quite sure how to, or maybe if you have a friend in the United States, Adolfo, who can subscribe to it, you can pay them, I guess, and then they can then go ahead and give you the username and password, and then you'd be able to download that stuff. Or if you have a friend that lives anywhere that Brisnet accepts data. Let's move forward to race number 4 and see if indeed you don't need any of that, fortunately or thankfully, here to join us on YouTube. I don't know that Facebook is working, so if you usually follow us on Facebook, I think they're down, they and Instagram. A lot of internet problems lately, right? Outages, big outages. Again, we're going to run 5.5 furlongs, claiming 5,000 non-winners have won in a year, at least till September the 5th. Purse is $18,000. We mentioned in the last 5.5 furlong race, there's only been 11 of them. 7 times the horses went wire to wire. You're looking for horses that perform from the outside to the inside. In race number 4, if you're looking for some speed on the outside, there's a bunch of speed in this race. You can see everybody has some % chance to get the lead to be expected in a 5.5 furlong sprint. Looks like as far as those that are going to be the most comfortable, maybe the 1, but really no C-zone score over 50%. So a lot of these could be put to task. None so far have shown an ability to consistently get a number above par. If we're looking for value, the 9-2, 2-1 horse, maybe 9-5 would be good odds on that one. Looks like about 6-7-5 fair odds on Hide the Ransom, the 4-horse. Outside of that, not a lot of other value according to our simulations. Race shape, everybody but the 5 wants to be middle forward. So if Zip It Up Scotty had a ton of late speed and all of these decided to burn it up, they might be able to run them down. Doesn't look like that's the case, though, according to our pace. You have a bunch in here, as we saw, that are going to be tightly packed. This race is probably going to come down to either being the speed of the speed, so Empire Score, or somebody who has speed and then the ability to come from off the pace. Hide the Ransom fits that not a whole lot better, though, with the late speed than the 2 or the 1. Our top total pace horses, again, a little bit of gap from the 2 and the 4. And everybody else, I'm actually going to start with those 2. The 2-horse, Empire Score. First time out, off of a layoff. You see the horse here, did the speed and then the fade. Take a look at these early pace numbers here, folks. 97 and 101. I mean, you see numbers like that in horses that are running in stakes races. A lot of times these horses, when you see this, they get underbet because of that fade at the end. This horse will have more stamina in the second start after a layoff. I expect you'll see those 1s move their way across the past performance lines next time out. Hide the Ransom, the 4-horse, last time out, showed some improvement through the first half mile of the race. That's almost an indication always of a horse that's improving in form. 5-horse, Zip It Up Scotty is that lone closer. So if there's a little bit of a speed melt up or a lot of horses give chase that aren't used to it, should pass a lot of tiring legs late and does have some of the most back class, might not be as far off the pace today as otherwise would expect. Amigos Guitar, that's the final pick, the 6 horse for me. This one's making the 3rd start after a layoff. A little better early fractions last time out, and that was confirmed by better pace numbers for the first half mile as well. How am I doing all by myself, folks? If I'm doing all right, give me a thumbs up on Facebook. Apparently some are watching. We got a thumbs up there. So want to say thank you to Kaisi Feisty Picks for the thumbs up. I greatly appreciate that. Follow us on all of our social sites streaming down there below. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, the bell, and of course, there's that share button. We greatly appreciate if you share our content. We're just about 100 and 150 people away from reaching 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Help us reach that milestone. I would greatly appreciate that, as would Terry, Tom, and Sean. Off to race 5 we go. This one is 6.5 furlongs, maiden claiming 10,000. Purse is 19 grand. Fillies and mares, 4 years old up, that have not won a race. You could see there's a little bit of markings on here. I like to see which horses are dropping in class. That's a big factor many times in horses that win the maiden races. You'll also see I have some Y's in here, yeses. So these yes horses, I'm calculating if they have a chance to hit the par number. 67 in this case. Yes, this one you could see last time out did indeed run a 68. So that's what some of those designations mean as I'm going through the maiden races. Also usually want to see if they have a workout between races. It's another indicator the horses will be a little bit more informed today. As far as race 5 is concerned, on our early speed, a lot of it's to the outside in race number 5, where they're going to run 6.5 furlongs, and early speed does good, but stalkers are right there too. 29% of the time, the horse that gets to the lead runs straight into the winner's circle without ever seeing the backside of another horse. Unlike some of the other races we saw earlier, the rail does have an advantage, so Practical Rachel could have a pretty good edge in there. Really, the Sweetest Moment, the one that's most likely to like this pace, Sweetest Rachel really standing out here from our simulation odds. It's about 1-5. I think there's a good chance it'll probably go off about 1-5. We'll talk about that just in a minute. Looking at our race shape, everybody here wants to close. All these other horses here you see so far in their limited careers have not finished within 5 lengths of the winner at the finish line. So really tough to tell who's going to do what. There is a big tell coming up in just a moment, though. Yaloma is your top early speed horse, so maybe that horse gets out to the front, gets some confidence up on the lead, and runs pretty well. It's going to have to with that really bad fade in there in terms of its weakening in the end. Foul pop. Yeah. Never mind. Tongue-tied at the moment. That one has the most late speed along with Over the Blue Sky. But really nothing really standing out there. They're really just passing tiring rivals at the end. Faux pas. Got it. There we go. 7-point total pace advantage over the next closest horse, Practical Rachel. Although I do like to see horses with a 7-point advantage over everybody else in here. It's probably not one that I think is going to win this race because Practical Rachel did run the top last race speed figure 20 points clear of the next closest horse. That's just way too much of a gap for the other horses to overcome. The one caveat being at Parx, a lot of times horses with that kind of edge somehow manage to finish second. So maybe do an all over the one for your exacta and hope to catch a bomb on top. I've seen that play out way too many times. Lady Gabrielle, aside from the one horse, is the only other horse in this field that's managed to hit a par score. Number 4, Tis Tea Time. I put Tis Tea Time in here because last time out, it got a maybe, as you can see here. The trainer does win 31% maiden claiming. He's going to drop in class. Did show a little bit of juice last time out relative to the rest of these when the gates open and just went straight backwards. But if there's going to be a surprise improvement in the 4 horse, it's going to be in the second career start. That's where horses tend to make their biggest gains or a little bit of a break coming off the bench between years 2 and 3 and year and 4. That's why I snuck the 4 in there. The 6 horse, this one's been off since September. Sweetest Moment. Again, something I like to see in here. Maybe a little hope for improvement here. A bullet workout. You don't see any other bullet workouts in the workout lines in here. So maybe a signal that this horse, something turned on inside. If not, next up in my list is that faux pas horse with the 7-point total pace advantage. But I'm kind of trying to find something sneaky in there to find a little bit of odds to go behind that likely heavy favorite with the 1 horse. Thank you, Uzmi. I appreciate the nice words. It always feels good. Yaloma shedding 10 pounds. Yeah, that makes a difference too. I agree with you on that. Does have that top total pace advantage in there. So 10 pounds. So the rule of thumb is somewhere between 3 and 5 lengths per every 5 pounds. So that's a 6 to 10 length advantage perhaps for faux pas. So keep that in mind. No, 5 pounds equals 1 length. Excuse me. Got that wrong. I got that number confused with some of my speed figures. So 5 pounds equals somewhere between basically 3/4 of a length and a length. So the horse should pick up about 2 lengths on that weight drop. 1 is better than this group. I mean, a 20-point speed figure advantage is just almost impossible to overcome. That horse really has to regress a lot, and everybody else has to bounce up a lot. I mean, that's possible. And again, I said at Parx, I've seen way too many times a horse with that sort of in-race advantage finish second. Too many times. We have 4 minutes to race number 2. That should be enough time for me to make my way through race number 6. So let me go ahead and try to get that done. The 6th race is 1 mile and 70 yards. So they're going to run a route in here claiming 7,500 non-winners of 1 in a year. So they're going to go back to September 5th on that one. Purse here, 20 grand. The 1 mile and 70 winner has stalking speed, but a big chunk. Jerome Bettis, he was a big chunk. 36% of the time they go wire to wire. A little bit of a rail penalty for Cathy LaBelle. A little play on words there from Patty LaBelle. 2 and 3, a little bit of a bonus. 4 through 7, a discount. And once again, we find that if you're on the outside, 8 and out, you get a bit of advantage with Helen or Ritz. Ortiz, Helen on Ortiz. All right. That one scratching out, making it an 8-horse field. That outside speed does belong to Awesome Pal, but it sure looks like Wishing on a Prayer with the strong C zone is the one that's likely to get to the front. Could become extremely comfortable up there. Although the sim odds and the par plus say maybe not. If you're looking for the par plus horses, you got a bunch of them in here, although the 6, Tis a Sharpie, Princess Sophie, and Ambitiously Placed, strongest in there. Our value horses in here looks like just Ambitiously Placed at about 5-2 relative to 9-2 morning line odds. A little bit of a different race shape here. Got 2 that want to be on the lead, a couple of them in here that are flexible. So the 2 and the 7. If the 4 and 8 go too fast, can be patient. They go too slow, can move forward. The 9 should sit right behind that group with the 1, 3, and 6 looking to close. So I suspect when we look at the early race, everybody's going to kind of be where they want. Although Wishing on a Prayer is about a length faster than everybody else. So might jump out of those gates and play the catch me if you can role. That's probably its best chance to win, considering that late speed really tails off. Of those horses up front, or closing types, Tis a Sharpie. About a length lead over everybody else. Going to probably be a little more than a length off the field, although it does grade out as our top total pace horse. Got 3 of them in here, the 4, 6, and 9, about 4 points clear of everybody else. So maybe that's a nice exacta trifecta box. I'm going to start with the 7, Princess Sophie, though I do have my concerns here. This one's been off for a while. Sometimes it comes off and runs some really sparkling races in the first up. But it is an interesting class drop for me. The horse was claimed for $15,000, been on the sidelines. If she wins, gets claimed, going to get $13,000 roughly back. So it's a $2,000 loser, not to mention the cost or whatever medical bills this horse had to get ready to come back. Suspicious drop, maybe suspicious enough that people won't put in a claim on this horse. Tis a Sharpie, that 6 horse, the top total pace horse in here. The last race was about a second faster, a little bit more than that. than through the first 6 furlongs. So maybe worked a little bit too quickly in that spot. Ambitiously Placed is the only overlay in the field. Claim, off of the favorite status last time out, did get beat, but it is running at the right distance where it's finished in the money of 11 out of 13 races. It did run a Z pattern. One of my handicapping angles that pops up a lot in my race notes when the race is over and I chronicle the winners. You'll see what I mean by that. Ran an 81 early pace here, then a 69 in the middle, so a little bit of a rest, and then picked up a second wind. So you got that Z pattern as your, or probably should really be like an N pattern, would probably be more descriptive. That's why a Z pattern looks like. And then finally, Not a Trace. This horse does have some early speed, making its third start after a layoff. Does have a workout in between races to keep the horse's saw sharp. And the last race was better than it looked as well, because it ran about a second and a half faster than it did in its prior start. Let's see. We have, hi VR. How you doing? Southwell, race 2 results, bro. All right. Well, we're going to go to race 2 in just a moment. Looking at the odds at the moment, pretty wide open race according to the odds to the bettors on the ground. The 8 horse is your favorite at 3-1. They're about to get running again. The soothing tones of Jessica Paquette, soon to be in the ear. As in race 2 at Ben Salem, they slop around and splash through the mud. The race is off and running, and the 3 horse Matty Bow has gotten to the lead. Looks like the 5, 7 years later, also contending. On the outside, Viatemi, the one we thought would get to the lead, 3 wide. Never really where you want your horse to be, 3 wide, especially when you're expecting it to get to the front. The 4 horse in a good stalking position on the rail, about 2 lengths off your current leader, the 3 horse Matty Bow, as they go through the opening quarter in 22-2. Making their way through the turn, heading on home. The 3 horse continues to set the tone. The 4 horse right now making its way up the rail. Going to really put some heat on this horse, it looks like, as they come down the stretch for the win. 3 horses running about 3 wide through the turn as the 4 horse tries to aggressively make its way up to that 3 horse to find they get the win. The 3 horse is trying to come down to the 4 horse to hurt it a little bit. I don't know that it's going to get that done. It does look like the 4 horse is going to carry on, find its way into the winner's circle. It's going to go 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. The 4 horse actually got bet down hard at the end there. Went off at 3-2. That's your winner in race number 2. Kind of interesting. That's, and even still at 3-2, the horse did grade out as your top par plus horse. Also did grade out as the favorite in our simulation odds. And that one went off at about 6-5. So even 3-2 offers value. I know there's a big debate in the horse racing world over exactly what is value. Some people say value is a horse that's 5-1. Some people or higher. But to me, value is getting better odds than the horse should really offer. While you're here, if you haven't done so, again, please kindly hit the subscribe button on YouTube. They say only 1 out of 10 people do that. I think the other 9, they should hit the subscribe button. We put in a lot of work to bring this in. And if you like what you see, kindly hit the share button. Tell your friends about us on all of our social sites streaming down there below. Race number 7 begins the late pick 4. Let's share our thoughts on race number 7. Again, we're looking at a maiden. Special weight affair. That's why you see the markings over here. 6 furlongs, $40,000 is the purse. This is for Pennsylvania, registered bred. So they're born and raised in PA, Pennsylvania bred. They got a good Pennsylvania breeding program out there. And that's why you see so many races at Parx that are filled with numbers of horses. I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Parx racing. They may be a little loose on the rules at times, but whatever they're doing to get horses to the track is working. And other states that are having an issue with getting horses to the track might look at that model. Because it's 6 furlongs on the sloppy track, you're looking for horses that have some early speed. Stalkers do good. About 1 out of 4 go wire to wire. Big rail bonus for Freedom Eagle. So maybe you can take advantage of that on that first-time Lasix right there. Post 2 and 3 play fair. 4 through 7, a big penalty. 8 and out is the place to be. Really, a lot of horses in here are making their first or second starts. So really not a chance to run the data in here. You can get a sense of who's done what for the horses that have run. The 9 horse looks like a lone E, but really he's going to have a lot of company from the 1 horse in there. Did not finish within 5 lengths of the winner, the 1 though. Does grade out also as your top late speed horse and your top total pace horse. The 1 and 9 considerably better than the rest of your experienced horses. Let's see what these 3 first-time bringers can offer in the race today. I'm going to go with the 1 horse, Freedom Eagle. This guy's been off since August. Does have a bullet and go workout. What I mean by that is the last workout down here before it goes to the track was a bullet workout, bullet and go. And then you see here it ran an 86 in its race way back in August at Aqueduct. Oh, no, that was at Parx. Excuse me. Had a lot of giddy up and go, just a little bit of a fade there at the end. Now, it said that in the second start, so months off too, especially with 3-year-olds, you can add about 1 point to your speed figure for every month you're off. So August to February, and it's what, about 6, 7, 8 points in there. And then just second race improvement can be anywhere from 5 to 13 points on that speed figure. There's a lot of reasons to think that 86 is going to go way up in race number 2. That's why I put it as my top choice. Number 5, Mr. B, is the second choice for me. Decently bet in its debut. Has a lot of early speed. Again, that early speed in the debut and then fade. Track dropper coming in from Aqueduct. So the numbers at Aqueduct, when those horses come to Parx, almost always lift. And it's dropping from an $80,000 maiden special weight race. Number 9, Bad Mr. Brown. Run at Parx 4 times. Has a trio of thirds in there. Has a chance to up its game after resting a bit, coming back, and then looking for improvement in the second start after a layoff. I'm going to throw a first-time starter in here. A couple of things that when you're looking at first-time starters that are helpful when you're looking to see what are the chances the horse might do well. First up, you want to see how the trainer does, in this case, D. Curry, in the debut races. You're looking for a number of 11% or higher. Going to debut in maiden special weight. We see that number is 15%, so that gets a check. You want to see that the breeding is good, that mama makes winners. The mama makes winners, folks. All right, so that gets a check. Then you want to see some good workouts. Well, you got a couple of bullet workouts right there at Parx, so that is a yes. So that gets a check mark. And this one gets an additional check mark in there as well because it does have this bullet and go workout down here. The bullet and go is the last workout before it goes to its debut, hence bullet and go. And according to Barry Meadows in his book, The Skeptical Handicapper, that angle there alone, the bullet and go, wins at a clip of 15% or more. So that's why that 6 horse gets in there. I'm going to do $2 exact, the key box with the 1, the 5, the 6, and the 9. I probably should have just did, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this, folks. Never mind. I'm going to do a 50-cent, and this is probably a horrible idea because now I'm going to hit the exacta and miss the trifecta, but I'm going to do a 50-cent trifecta box with all of these horses have a pretty good chance to win. So 1, 5, 6, and 9. That's how I'm spending my spare money. Never a good idea to change your bet, folks. All right, let's see. Thanks for the tip, man. No problem. I hope everybody had that one. I'm going to translate to English for some of the Spanish. First is a fast, but there is a break. 9 odds, adds Lasix. He's talking about in race here. I just think with that, the reason why I'm really pretty high on that 1 horse is it ran that speed figure well above what it needs to win here. And then that race, you got the age improvement along with the second race improvement, and the workouts say the horse hasn't lost a step. And if it just runs back to that number, it doesn't even have to improve, would beat everybody else in this field. But they are youngsters trying to win their first race and figure it out. So in a lot of cases, anything could happen. Let's see what we think will happen in race number 8. Again, if you like what you're seeing, give us a thumbs up. I know Facebook is down. Thank you, Rich, for increasing the thumbs up count on YouTube. On Facebook. Unfortunately, I don't get to see who gives us thumbs up on YouTube. They don't share that information with us. The first of a couple of stakes races here, minor stakes races for $75,000 at 1 mile and 70 yards. Again, $170 tells us that you're looking for horses that have a stocking ability. Good chunk, 36 out of 100, do go wire to wire. Bit of a rail penalty, kiss for luck, so might need a little bit of extra luck to get that job done. 2 and 3 get a bonus, 4 and 7 a discount, 8 and out is the best place to be. So a little bit of outside speed in race number 8. That's where most of the outside speed is, with the 7 and 8 over here offering. Those two are really going to get after each other on the outside. And with that one horse in here, Kiss for Luck, showing some early speed too, those two might have to run a little bit faster than they want to clear and get to the front. The one horse does have the most likelihood to enjoy the pace, that strong C-zone. This combination of strong early lead, strong C-zone finds its way to the winner's circle a lot. The one horse also, the lone par plus, meaning it's got about a 5% chance to run a speed figure above 89, which is the average winning speed figure for this level. And it is a simulation value as well. Looks like fair odds are close to 2-1 versus 9-2. The 7 horse, Jean Marie, looks like maybe 6-1, 7-1, somewhere in there versus 8-1, and even maybe a little value on Air Experimental, the morning line favorite at 5-2 versus probably 2-1. Our race shape in race number 8 tells us a lot of horses want to be middle back. So that being the case, get forward. You got a good chance to perhaps take this field from wire to wire. Jean Marie, a little bit quicker than Experimental. Again, we saw those two horses in the simulations moving forward. The one horse, the PC type, I mean, as far as trip is concerned, should be really happy with the 7 and 8 duking it out. And this one kind of gauging whether the pace is fast or slow, and then positioning in itself accordingly. As they come around the corner for home, Experimental, the 8 horse, does have the most late speed, about a length and a half quicker than everybody else. Should sit second, should have a really good shot to ride shotgun and then go all the way around. The top 3 horses, the 1, 7, 8, 5 points clear of everybody else. Again, a 5-point clearance rate, should be about a length better than everybody else. Those 3 have a strong chance to produce your exacta and trifecta. I went with the one horse, Kiss for Luck. It is the lone par plus. I know the rail stinks, but I think the 7 and 8 are going to go duke it out and tire a little bit and open it up for the one horse to pass them right at the end. Experimental is coming in from Aqueduct, so that is a track drop. Jockey Kendrick Carmouche going to stay on this horse and ride it again. So I think Kendrick will give it an excellent ride, and the horse also a bunch of excellent workouts between races. Jean Marie, the 7 horse. This one's going to go long for the first time. It's really interesting because the first 2 races were 4.5 furlongs. So not only does that horse have some early speed, but it's used to running sprints. It's going to really turn on the jets when the gates open. The good news is trainer Robert Reed does hit at a highly effective 29% when he takes a horse long for the first time, knows what he's doing in that regard. Finally, Eclair Blanc, the 9 horse. This one is making her 3rd start after a layoff, improved both races post-debut, and one that will be closing as well, making its best strides late. Roosevelt Gonzalez, who won the first race? The first race was won by a long shot. The 6 horse went off at 20-1, got to the lead, stayed on the lead, and never gave it up. So, and we saw that happen in race number 2 with speed kind of holding in there too. So today, perhaps on the sloppy track, going into the late daily double for race number 9. Again, another one of these non-graded stakes races for $75,000. The City of Brotherly Love. Yes, indeed. $75,000 again, 1 mile and 70 yards, 3-year-olds. So pretty much wide open for any horse that thinks they have what it takes to win at that level. Again, 1 mile and 70 yards. Stalkers do good. A bunch go wire to wire. The rail gets a penalty. 2 and 3, a little bit of a bonus. 4 through 7, a little bit of discount. 8 and out's the best place to be. So a little bit of accordion action there in that respect. As far as our speed is concerned in race number 9, Levin, really great chance to be on the lead. Look at that robust C-zone. Really nobody else minus the 8 horse really going to be comfortable with our projected pace in here. So that 2 horse, again, as long as it doesn't go to the front and run too fast, so jockey needs to make sure he's got that clock working in his head, should be able to get to the front, should be able to control the pace. Also a part of a quartet of horses that have par plus scores. Ganare, 44% chance, 43% chance, about a 40% chance for Lonesome Boy, for those two to run a speed figure above 92. Yeah, we'll see what degree the slop plays into that. And then finally, looking for some value, the 2-horse, well, maybe a little bit of value there. Lonesome Boy with a lot of value, 2-1 morning projected odds versus 6-1 morning line. The 4 looks like it's fairly priced in that regard. Our race shape for the second to last, the 5-horse, interestingly, not been within 5 lengths of the winner. I don't know. Maybe you could put an X through that one. If that one comes through to win, folks, it's just a case of a horse beating you. Although the 1, 2, 3, and 8 show that they want to be forward, they're all EP types, so they can pilot, they can co-pilot. The 4-horse in here, Ganare, has a bunch of versatility, so he can move around as well. This race, really, from a shape standpoint, anybody can be where they want to be on the track. Levin does look like it's going to be the pace setter with Lonesome Boy right off the tail. The rest of the horses, not including the 5, maybe a half a length back. The 5, if you could bet a horse coming in last, this might be the best bet of the day on the 5-horse. As far as your late speed is concerned, and this might be where this race is won, Ganare, a little bit quicker than Lonesome Boy. Again, everybody having some late speed in here. Our top total pace horses, 2 of them, 5 points clear of everybody else. The 4 and the 3 might be an exacta box in that as well. I think the 2-horse, though, because of that strong early pace advantage, it's a Gringo horse. You got green here, green here, green here, and green here. Those Gringo horses do well. I think this horse is going to put in its best performance in the third start after layoff. It's going to get to the lead. It's going to run reasonable fractions, make it difficult for everybody to catch it at the end. If not, Ganare, this horse won 3 races in a row, so it sure as heck knows where that finish line is. None of those races were remotely close. This horse, you'll know if it's live, and they're coming out of that turn, or going into the turn, tends to make really aggressive mid-moves. Going to come from the New York circuit as well, and another one of those horses with a bullet and go workout. The bullet workout and then back to the races. Just step on it. The 1-horse going to ride that awful rail in here. Last time out, though, an enormous jump in performance. I am concerned about a little bit of regression, but if it runs that same race it ran last time, going to be really competitive. Finally, Capo, Kendrick Carmouche, really talkative guy. Spent a lot of time last summer, 2 summers ago, chatting with him out at Saratoga. If you're ever out there, kind of take a look outside the jockey's room. A lot of them sit down on the chairs and are very sociable. Kendrick being one of the most sociable of all. This one can run back 2 races ago. We're at 1 in non-graded stakes for $100,000. We have a really good chance to win this race. Just think it really sets up properly for the 2-horse to get a chance to get to the front and never give up that lead. All right. Let's see. What do you think about WAPO number 2 in race number 3? We'll get back to that in just we'll go back to here. I have number 2 as the second choice, WAPO-ness. So I think he can run a handsome race. How about that? I want to say thanks to all the folks who are joining us again. If you haven't done so, kindly hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all of our social sites. Retweet what we do. Help our community grow. And if you have any comments, questions, or any of that sort of stuff, let me know. Final race of the day on my solo tour. I broke off from the band. I took the Paul McCartney route. 7 furlongs for the first time today, claiming 5,000. Non-winners have won in a year. The purse is 18 grand, 4 years old and up, which have not won a race except September the 5th. That's not a year in my book, but okay. Pennsylvania, I get it. At 7 furlongs for the first time, which you're looking for, or stalkers, really going wire to wire is a difficult chore relative to a lot of the other positions because only 16% of the time do they get the lead and hold on. 1, 2, and 3 get a bonus. Everybody else gets discounted. The farther you are from the rail, the tougher it is to win. So show some tactical speed on the inside in race number 10. You'll have a chance to win this race. A lot of the main speed scratched out. So the main speed horse is the 12-horse Sapanara. That one, good chance to get to the lead. Maybe not all that comfortable out there. It is a par plus horse, though, so maybe should maybe outrun those 6-1 odds. The strongest par plus is Super Flyover, about a 15% chance to hit a speed figure above that 82, which is the average winning speed figure. Our top total, you've got a couple of them here, Cartier Cat and Indoctrinate. They're the ones that are most likely to see races that mirror their best performances, hence the high C-zone scores. As far as value, Mischievous Wand should be going off somewhere between 5-2 and 3-1. Morning line at 6-1. Although the scratches, you're likely to see a lot of these odds drop. The 12 horse 6-1 seems to be about right. A lot of horses in here. I think the more horses you have in the race, the more you want them to be forwardly placed. The 12 horse in here offers a big danger because it is the lone e-horse. So if it can get to the front, those lone speed types might be a difficult task, though, to get to the front, even though it does have the highest early pace. Got a bunch to its inside with similar numbers that are going to make it work to clear. And we saw in the post position biases how difficult it is to actually clear from the outside and win. As far as our late pace is concerned, super flyover, about a length and a half quicker than everybody else. And really not concluding the 12 and the 10, the two outside horses that have to run hard to clear, should sit in a really great stalking position as a closer. Going to probably be more in the middle of the race there. The 5 and the 6, they're 6-7 points clear of the next closest two. Again, very good chance to be an exacta in that combination. I did start off with those two. The 6 horse here is a top par plus horse in here. 7-point late pace advantage, going to be pretty close to the pace, I feel like. And I think those outside horses that have a chance to go wire to wire are going to have to work too hard, really set it up for its closing kick. Mischievous Wand is that major overlay in here for us. Going to drop in class, which probably speeds his horse up a little bit. Last time out, showed that 2 and 4 furlong early race improvement, indicating the horse has a spark of life again. So maybe it's going to find some of that back class that would more than be enough to win here. Indoctrinate. These AE horses, when they get into the race, you know that the trainer wants to be in this race for a reason. Many times we find out when the race is going because they go on to win, and that horse probably has the most back class in the field. So maybe the trainer feels like some of that's going to show up today. And then finally, Catch My Vibe, the long shot. Believe it or not, even as a long shot, last time out, its speed figure was 5 points clear of the next closest horse. And again, according to Andrew Beyer, 5-point speed figure above the next closest horse, wins at a disproportionate rate. Chad Brown horse in there. And then, although I'll go with you on the 5, I think he wins race number 3. Oh, thank you. I hope he wins race number 3 too. Number 4 will be hard to beat. In this race here, Umet in the closer there. Hopefully, here are my total picks for the day. Hopefully, Terry does return tomorrow for Hump Day. We will be at Gulfstream Park as we are on every Wednesday and Thursday. It is an 8-race card there, so that should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to doing that. Hopefully, Terry returns again. Today, our free track of the day is Will Rogers. There is a link down in the description below. Kindly click on that so they know where it is that you're coming from. And that's it, folks, as they would say. That's all, folks, as they used to say at the end of those Looney Tune commercials. No matter what it is that you're doing for the rest of this terrific Terry Tuesday, we certainly hope your dreams, whatever it is that you're working for, does get God's favor, God's grace, and every single thing that you do. Are you guys going to do quarter horse racing? And we don't really do that, though. We do quarter horse picks over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. I do the handicapping over there, so all the stuff that goes into this goes into the quarter horses as well. Again, no matter what you're doing today, folks, we certainly hope that only one possible outcome for all of you, and that's everything ends up in the winner's circle. Thanks for joining me on my solo tour. Terry and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.